Today in this video, I want to go over the main use for I, the imaginary number. For anybody who doesn't know, I is the square root of -1. So how to use this to simplify square roots? Let's say, for example, we have the square root of -10. So first, let's try to split -10 up, shall we? So the square root of -10 is the square root of 10 times the square root of -1, because 10 times -1 is -10. And since I is the square root of -1, you could say that the square root of -10 is the square root of 10 times I. So with this, you could use this to simplify many square roots. So now let's say we have the square root of -8. -8, again, like -10, is not a perfect square. So first, as I said, -8 is the square root of 8 times the square root of -1, and this means the square root of 8 times I. And then you'd be like, well then, I'm done. But wait, you're not done yet. Let's take just for a moment this -8, shall we? This -8 is just the square root of 2 times the square root of 4. The square root of 8 is the square root of 2 times the square root of 4. And then again, we're multiplying this entire thing by I. And then it should immediately pop out to you, hey, the square root of 4 is 2. So this entire thing would be 2 times the square root of 2 times I. And this is a fully simplified version of the square root of -8. This is the uses for I. Another thing I want to mention is negative square roots of uh, perfect squares. Like for example, if we had the square root of -16. Most of the time when people see square root of -16, what they would think is, oh, this is obviously uh neg 4, or sometimes people say -4. But this is wrong. Completely wrong, because -4 squared is 16 and 4 squared is also 16. So you'd use the thing that I told you before by doing the square root of -16 is equal to the square root of 16 times the square root of -1, and this means it is equal to the square root of 16 times I, but then the square root of 16 is 4, so this will simplify completely to 4i.